In 2020, what stocks did well?
In 2020,
Yeah, 2020, what stocks did
did
well?
well. SPACs did well. Everything did well in
No. I'm
2020.
saying like Moderna, Pfizer. As soon as they were like, these
Okay,
companies
okay,
are
okay.
going to
So, yeah,
save
okay.
us.
Hold on. Well, let's make this clear. 2020, the cooties come,
The pandemic, you can say pandemic.
and then what does well? It's all of the pharmaceutical companies.
The pharma companies did well. It was announced that they were going to save us. They're all working to create this vaccine to save us all so we can get out of our house. They all did well. Now we're at war and Palantir's in the toilet.
Make your case better because, guys, we started just recording now, but
No, it was just a conversation. Yeah, just having a
Carlos
conversation.
had an excellent point that if Palantir's whole business is basically we are the guys you want to go to in terms of crisis, well, nobody wants to go to them to buy their stock, right?
Right. Well, it's the point that this should be the time when a company like that should do really well because now they're getting a chance to flex their muscle, right? They're helping people win the war, right? That was the whole point with that interview with Karp recently. He was really, shoe shining the defense industry, trying to get some of that sweet $900 billion of a budget that they have per year. But I'm saying to myself, like, why aren't people piling into Palantir right now, being like they're going to save us? They're the pharmaceutical companies of 2020.
That's a very valid point. And if this is not the time when they shine, when the government contract should be coming in hand over fist because they're saving democracy, as they
They're
keep
saving us.
telling
Yeah.
us.
They're protecting democracy, protecting our allies around the world, giving data information that no one else can get to the front lines.
Well, I'll tell you what, apparently democracy is worth $7.50 on the open market.
$7.50. Right. Right.
And you know what? Since we brought this up, bring up the video. Can you bring up the Karp video? CNBC Karp. Let's watch this.
Oh,
This will be
that's
a
the
10-minute video about us shitting on Karp, and it's okay to do now because we're both not in it, right? So it's okay to shit on the stock.
yeah, I'm not in that. I'm not in that. I considered it for like half a second.
And I was in it. That's why I feel it's still my obligation to talk shit about it. Okay.
Yeah, but that's like making fun of an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, you're supposed to for a while because she hurt you and she took away $12,000 when she left.
Well, if she took away $12,000, then yeah, that's
Yeah, I lost money. I was open about that. I bought it at 25. I sold at 12, and thank goodness I sold at 12 and bought Enphase because Enphase doubled and got my money back. Once again, Badri saves me. Okay, once again that mofo saves me when Karp was like has hands were in my pocket stealing everything. Right,
and he was singing you a haiku while he was doing it.
right. Karp literally had his hands in
While
my
he was
pocket
taking you,
pulling out the 12 grand, and so thank God I got out of 12 when I did. Like.
giving you a poem about it.
Yeah. And I actually got all my money back. That's kind of crazy that I went into Envy and doubled it back. It's crazy that it worked out because I didn't think it would work out this way. It just happened, right?
But you know what else it's done? What's doubly good about that is you could still write off the losses.
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
So it actually gives you more money because you're able to write off some of the losses to
Yeah.
offset these gains.
And I'm using tax loss harvesting, of course, if you have to, if you're making money on other investments.
So
But
that's the play here. That's the play here. Throw all your money in Palantir, and then when it tanks, tax loss harvest, throw it into a good company. It's basically a place to grow tax loss harvesting.
Well, okay, so we're going to bring up the video, but you brought up an excellent point here because people who are down in Palantir are holding it on like, oh, it's going to return. Oh, it's going to return. Oh, it's going to come back. It's a great company. Well, it might not return the way you think, and you might never be made whole. It might take a decade for you to be made whole. Some people think that that's the right thing to do to hold that investment. I actually think no. If there is something better where you think there's a better opportunity, why don't you just go for the better opportunity? The sunk cost fallacy is like, I've already invested all this money, this 20 grand, 30 grand into a stock like Palantir. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I got to get that money back from Palantir instead of saying, oh, maybe this other thing is better. Maybe if I just buy Google now and just get my 20% compounded return, or Amazon and get my 10, 15, 20% compounded return, or buy something like Tesla, which is down 50% and get a double and a triple in the next couple of years. Like the market doesn't care where it takes away your money. It doesn't care where it gives it to you. Right. So what do you care if Tesla gives you back that Palantir lost money? I don't care.
Just harvest those losses to bake them in against some other gains. But if you really do believe in it, sell it and buy it back
Buy
to
back
just make
30
the
plus
losses.
days
Yeah,
yourself.
like if Palantir is going to stay at this price, say for the next month and a half, 2 months, you might as well sell right now, bake in whatever your losses are for the year, buy it back in January and restart the process, right?
And that's assuming that you need to do tax loss harvesting. That's the assumption here.
Yeah, if you don't need to do it, then fine. But if you did need to, then it's a perfect play, especially if you don't think that it's going to recover in the next month. Of course, we're not talking about like timing the market. It could shoot off to the moon, but most likely it's not going to, which means if you still want to hold it at these levels, sell it into at least bake in those losses, because if it does run back up where you're now even again, you don't have any losses to offset them.
Yeah, so I'm actually saying something else. I'm saying that in a sunk cost fallacy, you are holding a stock not because you believe in it anymore, just because you want that stock to get you back to hold. When I was doing that analysis in my head, I'm like, do I hold this stock, which I don't believe in anymore? After me and you did so much research, I was like, I just don't believe in Karp. I think he's a total a-hole. I don't want to invest with this guy and his company. So I was like, forget about it. Let me sell out everything. Let me go into something I do like. And I'd rather hold that and watch it tank than watch this guy lose all my money, which I don't even believe in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just adding something to that where if you still did believe in it, at least take the loss, at least get something from the money you've lost. Otherwise, all you're doing is basically just waiting for it to get you back to zero, literally zero.
No, this is good. This is a great conversation. But now let's go to the video because this is already a Palantir video. So
I guess.
we might as well continue on this track and finish it up. So let's show the video. What pissed both of us off, I feel, watching parts of the video. And I saw it on Amit's channel, and we'll link to Amit's video on Karp as well. And I think he took the positive side of this, which is sort of like, dude, when did we become CIA shills? I keep going back to like.
Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. Over the weekend, I attended the annual Reagan National Defense Forum out in Simi Valley, California. In the first of a series of interviews that we will be bringing you this week, I caught up with Palantir CEO and co-founder Alex Karp to discuss the data analytics company's role in the war in Ukraine, demand from government as well as commercial customers and businesses, even his reaction to Wall Street's reaction to the stock. Take a listen.
We spent well over a decade, and certainly if you look from inception, building products for peace. So, so you could distribute vaccines and organize many of the most important institutions in the world. But of course, products of war. We believed and believe if, unlike most of our colleagues in Silicon Valley, if you are strong, you prevent the adversary from acting up. And that's why we thought this war might happen. We build products that allow you to do very high-end AI-enabled targeting. Most of the details we can't discuss, but our adversaries are very, very well aware now of their impact. These products have changed the course of history. They changed the power structure of America. And perhaps most importantly, as a former academic, our adversaries used to run around the world. We have a very significant business outside of America saying, well, America has liberty
Pause it and then we can
entertainment and free.
He's already said a lot and he's shifting like crazy. And I know you like to discuss body movements. Can we go back to analyzing what is he doing there? Is he trying to, does he have to go to the bathroom? Like, is he's
Well, you just watch it with no sound, right? Just like watch it with no sound. I mean, he's not making eye contact with her.
Yeah, he's not even looking at her. He's looking down. He's looking down.
Yeah, he's looking down. He's not making eye contact with her directly. The shifting in the chair, it could just be that he's uncomfortable. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's lying. You know what I mean?
I don't know. He looks super uncomfortable. If you pause it, right? And we talked about this before about his movements. I mean, he could just be a weird dude, and that's just what it is. But he does have a tendency. He shifts at the moments when he says something important. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the gripping of the chair is definitely like a soothing mechanism. It's something to ground you. It's almost like he wants to get up out of the chair. Like if I just showed you that frame, it looks like he wants out of there. I just don't think he's comfortable in this interview, but I think he knows that it's important.
So let's also talk about what he said.
He said a lot there. He said a lot there that, man, okay. You want to go first?
Well, I mean, basically he admits to being some sort of a shill for the CIA from everything I understood, that we are the guys behind the guys that make sure that you guys don't die. That's what it's.
We are a company that makes product that enables like AI targeting. Right. Here's the point.
We know the wars are coming, and we are there to stop them. So look, it sounds like an important mission. I'm not shitting on America. I think America is a great country. I'm just wondering once again, how do I invest in Palantir and make any money if they're just some sort of a CIA contract operation?
But you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, where does most of Boeing's money come from? Where does most of Lockheed Martin's money come from? Government contracts. So it's clearly a great source of revenue, right? And it's one of those things where once you're in bed with them, like other than like Airbus and Lockheed Martin and Boeing, like is a new startup going to come along right now to suddenly start getting defense contracts? It's going to be really hard, right? You have to have those relationships. So it totally makes sense. My big issue with them is just come out and say it. We are basically a public arm of the CIA. Just say that. But stop pretending like you're on some kind of philanthropical mission and you're telling us about the part that benefits us, right? Trying to evoke patriotism, like we're out there defending America or making America stronger against its enemies. You're telling me that those tools are not being used against Americans? You're telling me that they have that much power and they don't abuse it?
I think Karp's whole thing is the way he frames it is that we don't control what the people who use our tools do with them exactly. He doesn't actually control that part, and that's why he keeps shitting on Meta and Google, because they use their tools for bad, in his words, right? So, but he's saying we don't control it. We're not a bad company.
So what he's doing, he's trying to like a plausible deniability, being like, I don't know what they're doing with it. We're just giving them the tools. If there's anything nefarious, it's on their part. But I mean, you're giving them the tools, right? You absolutely know what's possible.
First of all, let me just take this back. I'm even fine with them being a government contractor. That's okay. The problem is, as an investment, if you think about every investment that becomes $1 trillion business or even a hundreds of multi-billion-dollar business, it's not a government contracting businesses usually. It's usually the retail businesses like Apple, like Microsoft, like Google that deal with more retail. So if this is a government business and he just can't say that, to your point, then it's sort of lying that there is this big commercial business that's going to happen that's not niche. And when I say not niche, meaning like I still can't download Palantir software on my computer and try to run it as part of my small operation. You still have to be a giant operation in order to run it and get some actual contractors to your office, and they have to create the actual AI that runs your systems and blah, blah, blah. It sounds like a very niche business.
See, I don't have a fault with that. Like it's possible.
You can't make 50% growth, 30% growth continuously. That's where the problem is.
Put it like this. If somebody would have come out with like a robo-taxi fleet, turnkey, right, that would serve companies like Amazon or Walmart, that company could make a lot of money, even though we would not have access to it with our small businesses. The fact that we don't have access to it on a consumer side does not bother me about it. What bothers me is that they keep trying to deflect you from the true core of the business. This is the same organization that told the American people and brought us to war by telling us that Iraq had WMDs. We now know that that was a complete lie. We're just going to forget.
Palantir was involved in this?
Not Palantir, the CIA. We went into that and the company's origins, that it definitely has intimate connections with the CIA in terms of its origins. To think that it's anything but that today, I think that's buying into Karp's philosophical letter to shareholders that are absolute nonsense, right? They tell you nothing about the business, trying to frame it in a way that you can feel comfortable investing in that company versus telling us what you do. Tell us what you do and how much money you make doing that. Stop trying to make it seem like investing in Palantir is like the moral equivalent of green energy.
Why during this time when there's integrated into the government and war, basically, right?
Yeah.
The war machine. How are they not printing?
How are they not? Yeah. How are they not at $50 right now?
Or even 20? How are they not back to what they were before, basically? Why are they tanking instead of going up, considering that they're part of this whole machine that we're going to be in for the next couple of years? Like these conflicts aren't going away. So I do agree with Karp there. That's not going away. This is going to continue. So why can't I make money with this company?
This would be the time. After a war is typically horrible, right? There's usually a recession after war, but during wartime is usually great for the companies that are involved in winning the war. And it's a really curious thing. I understand that we're dealing with inflation. I understand the macro events, but like we started at the beginning, the pharma companies did really well when even during the beginning of the pandemic, because we knew that they were there to save us, right? They were the companies that were leading the charge that was going to get us out of this. So if you're trying to finish this conflict, and Palantir is integral to that, I don't see what type of environment they would do well.
Bring up a chart of Lockheed Martin, for example. So I want to know, is Lockheed Martin...
Oh, Lockheed Martin, yeah, okay.
Is Lockheed Martin doing well right now? That's my question. I don't know. I don't research.
Might not be a good comparison.
Well, I'm just curious. Are other companies... Not exactly like Palantir, but I'm just curious if they're doing all right, Because Karp is trying to sell us half the time that he is an AI company. You need us for your business. And the other half of the time, he's telling us, no, you need us for war. Okay. So I think the messaging is also mixed a little bit, or maybe,
Listen, they could be both. They could be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I don't think that's necessarily mixed signals to say, hey, there's a commercial side and then there's a government side. I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. This is
I think for growth, it matters, by the way. I think if you want them to grow at the 30% plus, then they have to be more commercial than less government. That's just the way it has to work out. Commercial businesses thrive better. They have better multiples. Anyway, Lockheed looks like it's doing pretty well from this chart. Are you telling me they're up? Are they hitting all-time highs?
Yeah, Lockheed Martin's at an all-time high right now.
I mean, if you like you said, if they're a part of the war machine,
Lockheed Martin is a defense contractor, and they're at an all-time high right now.
And well, bring up the chart of Palantir since we didn't actually show it in the beginning of the show. It'd be nice to see what's going on with them.
This is a skateboard ramp. This is I've snowboarded this. This is a double black diamond at Mammoth.
Once again, I do think the messaging matters, even though you're saying it doesn't. It's because I feel he goes between the commercial and the government. And if he was positioning himself that, we are like Lockheed, maybe they would have been doing better during this time, to your point, than if saying, no, we're trying to get away from that and growing our commercial more, because that's what the intention is of all of these bulls, that the commercial's growing. So I don't know if you've seen in the recent videos, Amit has covered, but basically they're trying to grow their commercial.
They definitely should. I'll actually go back on what I said from the beginning is like, just on a technical level, if you were going to buy Palantir, it looks like this would be the time.
Okay, so you're saying not dollar cost?
No, not dollar cost. No, I'm saying like if you were going to buy this company.
Hey, we're going 360. We're going through, no, not 360, 180. I'm sorry, we're going 180.
It could come down some. Like we still have it in terms of the RSI, it could still come down some. So you could see lower prices, but even the lowest wick down here looks like it's $6.40. So it's at 720. Who cares, right? But if you did want to like start a position in Palantir, it looks like this is the time. It's below its IPO.
You were telling me it's now time to buy.
Right. And then you see what my computer thought of that. No, what I'm saying is if you were going to buy, right? If you did want to start a position in this company, I can't argue that now is not a good time. Just on a technical level. Hold on. What's the market cap of this company? 14 billion. Oh my God, that is low.
Carlos is ready. He's switching.
Wow. I'm just like, that is low.
This video started off as a bear video, but I think we're both going long.
No, I can't fathom with a company of this record. Here's the thing. If they're doing 50% of what he says he's doing, this thing should be a $50 million company.
Well, hold on. Let me bring up, make sure I can share the screen. Let me just show you a couple of things on my end. Okay. So Palantir, I mean, everyone see the problem with investing in, and this is like a mistake I would have made also when I first started, even 3-4 years ago, honestly, I would have been like, oh, it's down 60-70%. I must buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like at this point, every stock is down. I must buy them all. So, but why is it still expensive? So this is 14 billion. We think it's great. Okay. PE ratio. There is no PE ratio. Why is there no PE ratio? Because they make no actual profit.
They don't make any money. Yeah, they don't make any money.
If you make no profit, maybe you shouldn't be worth $14 billion. Just an opinion. I don't know.
That's a Rivian.
But honestly, like it's, a lot of companies shouldn't be worth 14 billion if they're making no money. That's just the bottom line. But okay, so let's say they are.
Okay, but that's not. But again, that's not necessarily fair, right? If they're still ramping up.
So here's the price of sales. Remember, let's go to analysis before I go to price of sales and everything. So they're a company that said they were growing at 30% plus, and now they're showing, or at least estimated to grow less than, still 20%, which seems not bad. And if they weren't priced for perfection to grow at 30% plus, I don't think this whole crash would have happened, but it did because they didn't hit their targets of growing, and now their growth has slowed down to 23, estimated now next year to 22 in terms of revenue. So if it is slowing down, and that's what the market is assuming here, I don't know if they're right, honestly. I have no idea, but I'm pointing it out. This is the assumption right now. This is quarterly right here. These are the yearly. So 23 this year projected, or to finish.
Right, but I'm saying next year, 22%.
22%. But remember, they were priced for 30% plus growth. This is what Karp said himself in multiple calls. This is what happened. And on top of it, we're not counting the dilution that's happening with their shares, because they have all this stock-based compensation, which everybody says doesn't matter.
That's literally what I was going to talk about before.
Matters. I don't.
Yes.
This is so ridiculous. Of course it matters if you're diluting your shareholders, and every time they need you to make more money so that you make some money. Of course it matters. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And this is why we want to buy companies that don't dilute shareholders, putting a lot of pressure on the stock price, because if those employees themselves get those shares and those options come up where they can sell, they sell and they push the stock price. And also investors don't want to invest in companies that are in this environment, especially where they're pushing all these shares out. So,
well, right. Well, the moment your money goes in, it's going to be taken. It's an ATM for these guys.
And we have a company like that me and you invested in, FUV, that totally is, diluted the hell, continuing to dilute us. And one of the reasons they're being pushed down is because the shorts know that you're going to keep diluting us. They know this. Right. They're going to keep pushing the stock down.
Did you see this?
Like and subscribe. Hit that bell.
Yeah. Hit that bell, or Karp will hack your computer and hit it for you.
And this is sponsored by FTX, by the way.
Right. Look, this is Palantir stock-based compensation 2019 to 2022. Palantir stock-based compensation for the quarter ending September 22 was $400 million. A 28% decline year over year. From September 30th was
mining and stock-based compensation.
A 33% decline year over year. So from 2019 to 2020, it went down 2%. Then in 2020, this when the stock ran up. You see that? A 425% increase.
I think that has to do with going onto the open market. That was actually the SPAC. Did they go to SPAC? No, an IPO. Whatever they did, the
DPO, the DPO.
DPO, right?
Right.
So I'm sure it has something to do with that, but still, this is no joke. This is a lot.
But the point of showing this is that the stock-based compensation is declining. 38% decline from 2020. Then in 2022, it was a 38% decline from 2020, and then a 33% decline year over year. Okay, so they are slowing it down.
Well, okay, hold on. So I wish we had the other chart. I did see this before. I don't have it in front of me, but okay, when something goes up, and let's say you're doing something at 400%, every year you're doing something at 400%, and then the following year you do it at 300%, and you don't do it at 400%. You declined, but you're still
diluting. Yes.
Still diluting the hell out of everybody. So I want that to be clear, because those numbers look like they're not diluting us. They're diluting us at a slower pace. Okay, so fine, look at it any way you want. Palantir bulls, that's okay, but they're still diluting you, which puts a lot of pressure on the stock, which means investors don't want you, which means even the people who work at Palantir end up selling shares into the market and pushing you down, because when there's a tiny door and everybody has to run out of it, everybody tries to run out of that door.
The big heavy guys get through first. Right.
Last point I just want to point out is that yes, the PE is coming down, the forward PE, if there is one. This is assuming, I guess, profitability at some point, maybe next year. If that happens, then I will reassess the stock. I have no problem reassessing companies, by the way, that turn profitable and I can make some money from it. That's fine. But at this point, it's still overvalued, makes no money. And if it does have a 40 PE, that might be a little bit too expensive for a company that starts making money. And the other thing is, in this environment where better companies' price to sales are 5, 4, 3, like we can look at Square. If you look at Square, I would say it's a better company. But anyway,
yeah, but are you comparing Square's business model to?
I'm just saying, if I was going to invest $1, where would I invest it? So I would look at something a little bit more crushed in this environment. And I don't think Palantir has been crushed enough, considering all the other quality companies. So you were saying, oh, it's almost worth buying. Yeah, maybe DCA into it. Sure, start a position. But I would say there's other companies crushed further, which are better and are actually making money or starting to, and are better bets than Palantir. So
let me just be clear. I don't recommend buying Palantir stock, but I'm saying if you are someone that does believe in this company and you did want to start a position, this is probably the best time to start a position if you believe in the company. But that's a big if, right? See, personally, I don't, and I wouldn't. But if I was, I would look at where it's at now and say it's at $14 billion. It's probably a good chance, or maybe like you said, just start DCAing in. You don't want to be buying this thing at $20. It's got too far to fall at $20, especially with those metrics, like you said, price to sales and PE. Yeah,
the problem with companies that are in a serious downtrend, which they still are, by the way, they were under the moving averages, and he was fighting, I think, the 50 when you showed the chart. Mm-hmm. They're still down under the 200. I'm not saying don't DCA. If you really believe in Palantir, you should do what's best for your portfolio. I'm just looking at it from my point of view, where there's a bunch of companies that I've been tracking for years now that are totally being hammered. Their price of sales are total shit. Google's under 1 peg ratio. It's crazy stuff going on with actually quality companies making money. I just think there's an easier upside in certain companies. Yes, maybe it's not that elusive 10x that might happen, but sometimes I just want to protect my capital, and that should be also a priority for people. I feel like Palantir will not do that at least in the interim. And I am willing to change my stance once they're profitable and they're showing income and they've stopped this diluting the shareholders. Listen, a quality company is a quality company, even if they're a CIA shill. I will invest in them. I have no problem
but I also
investing in them.
Right. But if we go,
If I'm investing in Zuckerberg as we keep going back, then I have no problem investing in another CIA shill. Well, Zuckerberg is not a CIA shill, but nobody likes him.
this is his net worth.
And look, I'm not saying he's not worth that. He should be worth $1 billion. He made $1 billion company. Why? Well, he should be worth that. I have no problem with Karp making money in terms of the long term. I do have a problem when his investors are losing money hand over fist, and he's worth $1 billion. Maybe that's the issue here. But over the long term, he should be worth $1 billion. I have no problem.
This is actually fair. Highest paid CEO, Alex Karp.
Highest paid CEO? Seriously? Okay, I don't know if I like that, but okay.
Yeah, here he is. He's one of the highest paid CEOs.
That's kind of crazy because his company's not.
That is insane. That really is insane. He's in the same level as Tim Cook and Elon Musk.
Yeah, he's in the same list, not the same level.
He makes. Wait a minute. Okay, his salary is 264 million. Elon Musk's salary is 10 billion.
First of all, Elon's salary is not 10 billion.
It's not 10 billion. That's what I'm saying. So what is it? Net worth or?
I think they're talking about also stock-based compensation. And Elon did have a big compensation package, so that could be part of.
We just went to court over it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's Tim Cook's? What's Tim Cook's?
854 million.
I think that includes stock-based compensation. So there you go. And my point is that Alex Karp is not one of these guys up there on the top echelon who's printing money for his investors and making a lot of money for himself, like we know Elon and Tim Cook are. He's basically printing money for himself right now, not the investors.
But like the number one and number two guy is Tesla, the most profitable EV company.
See that Rivian guy? Why is
the Rivian guy? Why is he worth $1.7 billion? And then behind, he's in front of Tim Cook. This is strange. This is really sobering. That's just super interesting, dude. The Rivian guy's paying himself a boatload of cash, man. Look, to your point, Zuckerberg is not on this list.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, Zuckerberg's not on this list. You have Tim Cook from Apple, who's absolutely worth the money because he does bring the value. Obviously,
Tim Apple from Cook.
Tim Cook's Apple. Tim Apple Cook.
All right, never mind.
The point is that Elon Musk clearly brings value to his companies. Tim Cook clearly brings value to Apple, but Robert Scaringe worth $2 billion. Peter Rawlinson worth $575 million. I think this is salary. Look, and they actually say scale without Elon Musk. He throws the curveball so much that you can bring him down.
Eliminate him. That's funny.
Anyway, show compensation breakdown. Okay, here we go. Salary 650,000, and then options awards.
There you go. That's
nice. Okay, Elon Musk is option award. Look at that. There's no salary.
He has no salary. Yes.
All right, no salary. Which look, if that to me, like the fact that Elon Musk doesn't take a salary and only does well, his net worth only grows when the company does well. That to me shows that just built into his arrangement, there's a real incentive to bring value to the shareholders.
Yeah.
You have Apple. Okay, he's got a $3 million salary, $12 million bonus, and then $837 million. Okay, but they're a $1 trillion company, a $2 trillion company. Peter Rawlinson gets paid $500K. Okay, $2 million bonus. All right, and then he gets 500 million in stocks, 6 million in perks. Okay, then we come down to Alex Karp.
That's Alex guy doesn't deserve it, by the way. Absolutely not.
What, him?
Rawlinson, I mean, what did you sell? You sell 1,000 vehicles, you deserve to be worth billions of dollars. I mean, like it's ludicrous.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. If we would have compare like revenue, not even profit, just revenue to the salary, that's a ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a ridiculous salary. All right. So Alex Karp's making $1 million a year. He's getting a stock award of 71 million. And then he's got
1.1 million. Can you hold it over again? Just slow down.
So his salary is 1.1 million.
Okay.
Which I'm not saying he's not worth that. Like $1 million for a $14 billion company, that makes sense. It's a small percentage, and he is running the company. Okay.
Wait.
Stock
How much is
awards,
Tim Cook getting? Can you go up? How much is Tim Cook getting for salary?
Tim Cook's getting 3 million.
He's getting 3x.
Right. Compared to that, yes. Compared to Apple, compared to Tim Cook, right. Tim Cook should be making 50 million.
It's 150 million, right?
150 million. No, but this is interesting because this is negotiated. You know that, All right, so he made $1 million. He's getting 71 million in stock awards, and then he's getting 188 million in options, and then 3 million in perks.
He makes more money in perks than Tim Cook makes in salary. That's funny.
Yeah, actually, yeah. He makes more in perks than Tim Cook makes in salary.
Obviously, Tim Cook has a lot of options and all these things, but it's almost ludicrous looking at this.
It is. Yeah. Okay, Alex Karp makes as much as Brian Armstrong of Coinbase.
Which is a profitable company, by the way. I just want to point that out. Profitable company right there.
Yeah, and like the largest, 51 million wallets around the world.
His perks are 2 million. So Karp is making more perks than a profitable guy at Brian Armstrong. It's crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah. GitLab Sentinel-1. Okay. That's super interesting. Yeah, but then you look at Rawlinson. He's making almost 7 million in perks.
I agree. Rawlinson, ridiculous. Robert Scaringe, ridiculous. So
and Tim Cook's only making like 1.3.
Well, he took a lot of options. That's why.
But still, when you see the breakdown and you compare them to each other, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then Elon Musk just has one thing, one line, just the biggest line of all is like, "Yep, it's all just options. I got to do well, or."
Yeah, it's either I make a good company or I don't. That's it.
That's super interesting.
Before you go on, who's on the bottom?
Who's the last one? Jimmy Levin, Sculptor Capital Management.
We don't know that one. So
it's a capital management firm.
So we spoke with Brian Armstrong. Okay.
Moving money around. KKR. I don't know what they do. Embark Technologies. What do they?
GitLab. I think that was bought.
Embark is a self-driving truck company that uses automated technology to solve the truck driver shortage. So this guy here, one of the highest paid CEOs, Alex Rodriguez, is making, what's he making? 180,000 plus 252 million. Like, how have we not heard of this company? It's a self-driving trucking company. Oh no, but they're not EV.
Oh, I see.
It's not an EV
driving, but it's a self-driving tech, so it could be applied to any car.
Oh, right. Okay, so they make the technology for self-drive. Okay, that looks horrible. By the way, wow. Okay, so he's making.
It's not as pretty as a semi. That's true.
GitLab. Okay, Sentinel-1, KKR, Cody, C3.ai.
This is why I'm saying that I look at the chart of Palantir and also the stats of all of the income, the revenue, that they're not profitable. And then I look at profitable companies. I keep going back to that. Even Coinbase on this list. Like, it's like a no-brainer. I should put money into Coinbase and not into Palantir in this case. Just looking at the math of it. Forget about everything else. If I was just math focused.
Yeah.
That it makes no sense what's going on here.
If I'm investing money in a company that's not profitable, I would want to know that the owner, the CEO of that company, their compensation is tied to metrics that make me money as an investor. It would help me mitigate some of that risk or feel better about risking my capital in that company.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why Elon is such a unicorn, literally, in this environment, because he's one of the few CEOs who does that. I actually don't know many other CEOs who do that. So
it's funny how of all the things that other companies copy from Tesla, that's one thing that they haven't.
Oh, they're not going to copy that. No, that's never going to happen. If I was CEO of Palantir, I would want the same compensation package. I'm not saying Karp is doing what's best.
As Karp's? You're saying you're saying you would want the same as he has now.
If I was the CEO, Karp is doing what's best for Karp. I don't think it's best for investors. That's what I keep going back to. All his speeches and all his highfalutin poetry and everything he discusses, it never sounds like it's best for investors. It always.
You think he's sleeping on the factory floor?
He's sleeping somewhere. I can't tell. His hair's always messed up.
Is he even sleeping on a pillow? He's sleeping on a bed of nails.
It's all the yoga
pose. All right, that was it, guys. We're done.
That was enough of Karp bashing, and we hope you enjoy this one. See you on the next one.
Bye.